Hi everybody, this is a bit of an impromptu video. You can see that I've got open my Ivy and the Inky Butterfly book, Johanna Basford's beautiful design. It's the double page sweet pea design. And you may have seen some posts I've been doing from these pages as work in progress as I've been, I'm just moving the page so you can see the metallic paint, which you may have seen that I've posted kind of along the way. And also on this side with some of the flowers down here and these little mushrooms. The reason that I'm making this little video is because you can see the background that I've done on this page. I'm using a little bit of a new technique. I'm sure it's not new in the art world, but for me, I've been developing it for a few days, and I'm kind of anticipating that when I post this double spread on our page later today, you'll be asking me questions about how I did the background. So I thought I'd tape a little bit of myself as I went along. So you can see the colours that I've got picked out here. Now I picked these specifically because I wanted to match the leaves and the colours of the sweet pea, because if you read the story, Johanna writes, soon Ivy came to a thick impassable wall of sweet peas. So the effect that I wanted was for the eye to think that there's sweet peas in the background, which is why I've picked these colours so that it looks like this thick impassable wall of flowers. So I thought if I used the flower colours in the background, it would give that kind of illustration. And I've also picked these colours because they're Prismacolours, and I'll read you out the colours in a moment, but they blend really well together because they're quite light. And that's quite important on a background. You don't really want anything that sticks out in terms of not being able to blend it very well. So I've got 4 Prismacolour pencils, I've got Deco Peach, I've got Chartreuse, I've got Beige, and I've got Pink. Now, what you can see in between is the equivalent colour of the NuPastels. So that's Prismacolour pastel sticks. And they are the exact same shades of the Prismacolour pencils that I've got picked out. Now, the reason that I've thought about doing this is because I've tried to think about different ways of encapsulating the pieces of text that Johanna writes without completely obliterating them from the eye. And sometimes the best way to soften around the edges is with pastels. But trying to get pastels, even pastel pencils, into these little details down here is pretty impossible. So I thought, okay, well, why don't I use colour pencil to get into all of the little kind of nooks and crannies, as they would say in my part of the world, and then use the equivalent pastel as we get near to the edge to make kind of a fade out effect. So you've got the same colours going on, but you use the actual pencil in all of the detailed areas around the flowers. And then in the areas where you get towards the text, you use the equivalent NuPastel. And it's working quite well. You can see on this side, I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. It was kind of how I wanted it to be in my mind. So I'm going to work on this little bit here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit for you. And that, I think, is just about right. So I'm going to finish this little section here with my Deco Peach colour that I've got out. And all I've done is take random splodges of colour, so that they're not particularly placed in any order. I've just made sure that all of the 4 colours are evenly distributed, and as I say, you can blend them together. So this next colour up here, you might not be able to see the difference very well because they're quite similar, is Beige. So what I'm going to do is I've got my my Deco Peach pencil and I've got my Beige pencil, because what I'm going to do is, and I'm also going to pick up my Chartreuse because we're going to be blending into this bit as well. So I've got 3 colours in my hand. I've got Deco Peach, Beige and Chartreuse. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off with coloured pencils this section in Deco Peach. So bear with me, because what I'm going to do is, what I've done is I've left a little blend line in the green Chartreuse colour here. So the edge of that colour pencil is a very light touch, which gives me a blend line. And if you watch my blending videos, you'll know what I'm on about. But I will go back to the principle when we come to do this outer edge here. So I've got my Deco Peach, and I'm just going to press medium firm over that edge of the Chartreuse that I left in a lighter hand, like that. And I'm just checking that you can see it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm just going to blend over this green here, like that. Take my chartreuse, put my teeth back in, and just lightly go over that blend line to get a seamless finish like that. And then these little bits we can do in the peach in a firm hand, because it literally just is plain old colouring in. I'm saying plain, it's very pretty, but you knew what I meant. And as I say, these kind of splodges of the 4 colours are completely random, and you don't even have to use these 4 colours. As I say, I use them because they're the colours I used for my sweet peas, but you might want to try a similar technique. So I thought that I'd show you how I did it, because I know some of you lovely ladies will be interested. So I can put my chartreuse down. This little line here is my blend line in beige. So again, I've still got my Deco Peach in my hand. I've also got my beige handy. And I'm just going to press firmly over that blend line there. And you can see those colours are so similar. You don't really need to go over the edge in the beige, because they blend fairly seamlessly with these being Prismacolour pencils. And then you can see what I've done is I've marked out where I want the edge of the colour pencil to stop. So this line here is a very light hand in the Deco Peach colour, and I've done the same up here in the beige. So this outside edge is a light hand, and I'll show you why in a second. So what we're going to do is we're just going to colour up to those lines, because I say that's where, and I'm still leaving that light hand edge. All I'm doing is filling in that little bit of white page with a firm hand and leaving that light touch on the edge, because that will allow us to blend the pastel stick. So that's the colouring done. So now I want to pick up the equivalent of my pastels. So I've got my Deco Peach NuPastel, and I've got my Beige pastel. Now what I'm going to do is, just a word on pastels before I move on. A lot of people you will see break these, so you will see them in kind of 2 or 3 pieces, because they're just easier to use in smaller chunks. I kind of, you'll have seen maybe at the start when I showed you these, that my pink one's in 2 pieces. That wasn't deliberate. That was me putting quite some pressure on there. I don't tend to break my pastels. I think they look too pretty. So I try to keep them in 1 piece, but entirely up to you how you want to use them. So, beige. What I'm going to do is, I'm using I'm going to use the edge of the pastel block, and on that light touch line there, just on the beige bit, so from here to here, I'm just going to quite firmly just drag the pastel over that blend line and towards the text, not on it. Like that, and I'm only going to go as far down as I've coloured in the beige, and then we'll use the pink the Deco Peach pastel underneath. Okay, and then all it takes is a quick blow and your little finger. So I've matched that pastel to the pencils I've been colouring in, and then I'm just going to fade it out into the text. So it's the same colour, but just using a different tool, so you don't obliterate the text. And you can do it as many times as you want. So I'm just going to put another little layer of pastel there, medium firm, just to blend that pastel into the pencil. And then what you can do if you wanted to, because lighter colour pastels tend to go over these black lines, so I've just got my Tombow mono eraser, just going to make sure the end's clean, and then just follow the pattern round, and it'll take the pastel dust off this black felt tip and just make it stand out again, like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Deco Peach pastel stick, and I'm going to do the same. So I'm going to go over the beige slightly, because the pastels as well as the pencils will blend together, and I'm just going to go over that blend line and pull it in a medium firm hand towards the text like that. quick blow, little finger. And then I'm just going to go over that beige pastel, and you can see it just makes a seamless, lovely colour change. And again, I'm just going to pull this pastel up towards the text and just fade out as it gets there. So you can see that's making a really, really nice effect. And if you think like you've gone onto the text a little bit too much, you can, I'm just trying to find a clean eraser. Yeah, that's fine. You can always just lightly rub over that text. So you'll still get the fade out effect, but it just won't be over the story that Johanna's telling. And basically that's what I'm going to do for the rest of this page. So my 4 colours. So I'll have a kind of splodge here of the deep pink colour, and maybe the chartreuse green again up this side. It's completely random, the splodges that I've put together. The only 2 colours that I've not put together next to each other are the pink and the chartreuse, because while they blend, they are the 2 darkest colours that I'm using, and they blend better with the lighter colours. So hopefully that's been useful, and as I say, I'm sure when I post this I'll have some of you asking me how I've done it, because you're always very interested in new techniques. That's the beauty of our group. So any questions, as usual, drop me a line. It will be on YouTube. I will put all of the pencil colours and the NuPastel colours on there as well for you, so don't worry about writing them down. And I hope you have a go. Thank you. Bye for now.